Athens, way back in the 5th century BC, was a super busy and important city. It was full of smart people, amazing artists, and new ideas about how to run things. But in all the excitement of Athens, one guy really stands out: Socrates.
I wasn't a playwright or a sculptor or a politician. I was a philosopher, and my ideas would change the world.
Unlike the sophists, who charged money for their teaching, Socrates walked around the marketplaces and public spaces of Athens, chatting with people and getting into debates. He didn't care about winning arguments. He wanted to make people question what they thought they knew and find the real truth. This made people call him the gadfly of Athens.
Just like a gadfly makes a horse move by biting it, Socrates poked the Athenian people to think hard about their lives and what they believed.
Socrates believed that if you didn't think about your life, it wasn't worth living. He challenged everyone in Athens to question their values and beliefs. He wasn't scared to tell powerful people they were wrong or being dishonest. This made him a guy that people argued about in Athens.
Some people really admired how smart and honest he was.
Others thought he was dangerous and wanted to cause trouble.
Socrates' life and what he taught were all mixed together. He didn't write down his philosophy, he lived it out in the open for everyone to see. As Socrates' way of teaching was as special as his ideas. He didn't give lectures or write big long books. Instead, he talked with people, often in public places like the marketplace, the gym, or even on the street corner.
Imagine you're walking through the busy marketplace. People are selling stuff, talking about the news, and in all the noise, you see a guy deep in conversation.
That's Socrates, and his questions are like a sharp tool, breaking apart old ideas and showing the real truth underneath. This question and answer style, called the Socratic method, is still used in schools and businesses today.
I didn't want to just give people answers. I wanted them to figure out the truth themselves by answering my questions.
He would often act like he didn't know anything, asking easy questions that actually showed the problems in what people believed.
What is fairness? What is bravery? What is being religious?
These questions sound simple, but with Socrates' clever questions, they showed how complicated these ideas really are. The most important part of Socrates' philosophy was arete, which means being the best you can be. For Socrates, arete wasn't about money, being famous, or being powerful. It was about living by reason, being a good person, and always looking for the truth. He believed that a virtuous life was the happiest and most meaningful life you could live. Socrates thought arete had some key parts: courage, temperance, justice, piety, and wisdom. Courage wasn't just being brave in a fight. It was about standing up for what's right even when it's hard. Temperance meant being balanced and in control of yourself, not doing bad things even if you want to. Justice, to Socrates, meant getting along with others and following the rules. Piety meant respecting God and understanding your place in the world. And wisdom, the most important part of arete, meant knowing right from wrong, true from false, and living a smart life. Socrates believed all these things worked together. They weren't separate, but all part of one good whole. Socrates really believed in a voice inside his head. He called it his daemonion. This voice didn't tell him what to do. It warned him when he was about to do something wrong.
Imagine this. I'm about to go to the assembly where important decisions are made. Suddenly I feel a stop, a doubt. My daemonion is warning me something's not right.
He said this voice was a gift from the gods, a guide to help him through life.
Some people thought this voice meant he was very religious and close to the gods.
Others thought it was against normal religious beliefs.
Socrates didn't say he was a prophet. He didn't predict the future or give messages from the gods. His daimonion was his own personal guide, a voice of conscience that helped him stay true to himself. This idea of an inner voice, a moral compass, would have a big impact on Western thought, especially on Christian ideas about right and wrong. In 399 BC, when Socrates was 70 years old, he went on trial, and it shook up Athenian democracy.
He was accused of not believing in the gods of Athens and of teaching young people bad things.
The men who accused him were Meletus, a poet, Anytus, a rich tanner, and Lycon, a speaker.
These men represented different groups in Athens who felt threatened by Socrates' teachings.
The trial was in the middle of Athens, with a jury of 501 citizens.
Imagine it, the crowded courtroom, everyone waiting, the serious charges in the air.
Socrates was accused of going against the religion and politics of Athens.
His accusers said he was dangerous and was poisoning the minds of young Athenians, turning them against older people and their traditions.
They talked about his friendships with Critias and Alcibiades, who were part of the 30 Tyrants, a mean group that ruled Athens for a short time after they lost a war.
My trial wasn't just about me. It was about ideas, a fight between old and new ways of thinking. I said I wasn't guilty of not believing in the gods. I did believe, but maybe not the same way as my accusers. I also said I didn't teach young people bad things. I tried to make them better, to think more, be fairer, and be more virtuous. I asked the jury to think about not just the rules, but what the rules really meant. I reminded them that a good citizen should tell the truth to powerful people, fight against unfairness, and make sure their leaders do what's right.
Even though he spoke well, Socrates was found guilty. The jury said he should die. He could have escaped, but he refused. He thought running away would be against his beliefs and the laws he always followed. So, with his friends there, Socrates drank the hemlock poison, calm and brave. His last words, written down by his student Plato, were, "Crito, we owe a rooster to Asclepius. Will you remember to pay the debt?" This mysterious message makes it seem like Socrates thought death wasn't the end, but a new beginning, a way to get free from the physical world. Socrates' death shocked Athens and other places. Here was a philosopher willing to die for what he believed. This made him a hero of truth, reason, and thinking about life. Socrates' most famous student was Plato, who started the Academy, one of the first universities in the West. Plato wrote down Socrates' teachings in his dialogues, saving them for everyone after him. Plato's dialogues aren't just philosophy books. They're great stories that make Socrates seem real, showing his humor, his cleverness, and how much he cared about truth. Socrates influenced many other important thinkers like Aristotle, Cicero, and Marcus Aurelius. His focus on reason and morality became really important to Stoicism, a philosophy about being virtuous, controlling yourself, and living naturally. The Socratic method, with its focus on critical thinking, questioning, and finding evidence, became a key part of Western education.
I didn't write any books. What people know about me comes from my students, mostly Plato. But my ideas are still important today. Why? Maybe because the questions I asked are always important. What is fairness? What is a good life? How should we live? These questions are just as important now as they were in ancient Athens. In a world often full of strong opinions, strict beliefs, and blind faith, the need to think critically, understand ourselves, and look for truth is super important.
His life and teachings remind us that if we don't think about our lives, they're not worth living, and real wisdom comes from knowing that we don't know everything.
Socrates isn't just about the past. He's about now and the future. His ideas challenge us to be better citizens, better thinkers, and better people. They remind us that learning is a lifelong journey, and looking for truth is a good and important thing to do. Socrates' story shows us that one person can change things. He didn't have an army or a political party. He had his words, his questions, and his strong belief in the power of reason, and with those, he changed Western thought. His life shows how powerful ideas can be, challenging what everyone thinks, inspiring change, and leaving something behind that lasts. As we deal with our own complicated times, we should remember the Athenian gadfly, the man who asked tough questions, challenged what people thought they knew, and lived and died for his beliefs. Socrates' message is for everyone. It goes beyond time, culture, and place. It's a message about what it means to be human, our ability to reason, our search for meaning, and our responsibility to live a good life.